There lived a woman named Nara. She was known for her steady hands, hands that stitched torn cloth, kneaded dough, soothed crying children. People came to her for help, yet few ever asked what she carried inside herself. And she carried much. There had been a time not long before when Nara believed her heart was a vessel too strong to crack. She loved deeply, a man whose charm filled rooms, friends who swore loyalty under moonlit laughter, a family whose approval she chased like distant rain. But the crack began quietly. It began when promises were broken without apology, when affection turned unpredictable, warm one day, cold the next, when someone she trusted raised their voice one too many times, when a friend betrayed a confidence, when she realized that the people she loved most spoke to her harshly because they believed she would stay anyway. And she did, until the day she didn't. One morning, after a long night of tears she had kept silent, Nara gathered her things and walked out of the life she had built, not because she felt brave, but because she finally understood she was disappearing inside it. She moved into a small room at the far edge of the village, where the sunrise came early and the nights were honest. There, her healing began, but not in the way she expected. She had imagined healing would feel clean, bright, almost triumphant. Instead, it felt like waking in the dark with her heart pounding for reasons she could not name. It felt like missing the very people who had caused her pain. It felt like doubting her own memories, wondering if she had imagined the harm, wondering if leaving made her weak, wondering if she had failed. Some days she felt strong, almost new. Other days she cried while fetching water, the weight of old wounds tightening around her ribs. She spoke to no one about this. Most people believed healing was a straight path, and she did not have the energy to correct them. One evening, when the sky was the color of cooled embers, Nara sat outside her small room, shoulders drawn tight as if guarding her ribs from the wind. She stared at her hands, the same hands that had once steadied so many others, and wondered why they could not steady her now. Ebony, the older woman from next door, stepped quietly into the fading light. She didn't ask permission. She simply sat, the way someone does when they have known enough sorrow to recognize it from a distance. For a while, neither of them spoke. Only the sound of night insects warming their voices filled the air. At last, Ebony said, with gentle certainty, "You look like someone carrying a story she doesn't know how to name." Nara inhaled sharply. Her first instinct was to smile, to say she was fine, to pretend she was simply tired, the old reflex of a woman who had learned to make her suffering small. But something in Ebony's presence felt safe, like a cup placed steadily beneath trembling hands. So she allowed herself to speak. "It wasn't one thing," she began, voice low. "It was many things. Small cuts that I ignored until I was bleeding from places I didn't see." Ebony listened without interrupting. Nara continued, her words slow, fragile. "I loved people who did not know how to love me gently. People who said, 'I'm sorry,' without changing. People who demanded patience, but gave none. Friends who turned their backs when I needed them most. Family who used my loyalty as a place to hang their neglect." Her eyes grew wet, but she didn't wipe them. "I kept thinking if I tried harder, stayed quieter, forgave faster, they would treat me differently. But each time I tried to hold everything together, something inside me tore. And when I finally walked away, I thought I would feel free. Instead, I feel lost, broken in ways I can't explain. Like I left the pain behind, but brought the wound with me." The words hung between them, soft but heavy. Ebony let out a slow breath, the kind that carries recognition. Only then did she speak. "My daughter," she said, "healing doesn't feel like healing while you are in it." She reached down and sifted a handful of dust from the earth. "People think pain transforms us like fire. But pain is more like this dust. It settles into every corner of your life. Some days you sweep it away. Other days you breathe it in." Nara listened, her throat tight. Ebony continued, "You left a place where your spirit was shrinking. Do not be ashamed that your heart still trembles. Even a freed bird needs time before it trusts the open sky. There was another silence, gentle, spacious. You don't need to become who you were before, Ebony said softly. That woman was strong, yes, but she did not know what she knows now. Healing is not a return. It is a reshaping. Nara felt something shift. Not a release, not a sudden peace, but a loosening, like a knot that had been pulled too tight for too long. In the days that followed, she began letting herself feel the full truth of her experience. Some memories stung. Some surprised her with unexpected tenderness. Certain mornings she woke with a quiet steadiness, certain nights with old sorrow. But slowly, she began noticing small signs of change. She no longer apologized for taking up space. She slept through the night more often. She laughed, only once at first, then again, until laughter felt like something she deserved. She learned to say no without fear. She allowed herself to be cared for, not just useful. Her heart was not what it had been, but it was becoming something wiser, something that could hold both the ache and the lessons without collapsing under either. One twilight, Nara found Ebony again. What if I never heal completely, she asked. Ebony smiled, lines of experience softening her face. Then you will live beautifully incomplete, like the rest of us. Healing doesn't mean returning to who you were. It means honoring who you are now. Scars, softness, strength, all of it. And in that moment, Nara understood. Healing was not a climb back to the life she lost. It was the slow, courageous shaping of a life she could finally call her own. And now, dear listener, hear the quiet truth beneath every step Nara took. What breaks you today may be the very place where tomorrow's strength takes root. What was taken from you may return in a form wiser than you expected. What felt like abandonment may one day reveal itself as protection. And what you thought was the end of your story may yet become the sacred beginning. Remember this. The people who wounded you do not get the final word. The pain that humbled you does not define you. The nights you cried alone did not go unnoticed by the one who shaped your spirit. And the part of you that survived, even trembling, even tired, is the part destined to rise. Look again at Nara's journey. She walked away with nothing, yet found herself. She lost love, yet uncovered a deeper belonging. She broke apart, yet the breaking became her wisdom. She had every reason to close her heart, but instead she chose the slow courage of opening again. And by choosing her healing, messy, uneven, unglamorous, she rewrote the story that pain tried to hand her. My friends, this is not simply the journey of one woman. It is the quiet echo of your own becoming. When life tells you failed, breathe. When loneliness fills your chest, stay. When healing feels too slow, too hard, too strange, trust. For no heart mends in straight lines, and no soul grows without being stretched by sorrow. Hear this clearly. Do not shame your scars. Do not rush your becoming. Do not despise the seasons where nothing makes sense. For these are the seasons that ripen the spirit. These are the seasons that teach compassion. These are the seasons that forge depth no easy road could ever offer. This is Nara's story, the woman who left to save herself, the daughter who reclaimed her worth, the heart once fractured that learned to beat with truth again. Carry it with you. Let it soften the way you see others. Let it widen the way you see yourself. Let it remind you that healing, however unrecognizable, however slow, is still healing. And until our paths cross again, walk gently with your own heart. Walk bravely toward your own becoming. Walk knowing you are not alone in your unraveling, nor in your rising. Live honestly, rest when you must, and let the rhythm of your spirit return in its own time.